Tuesday evening. I can't remember what I did yesterday. It was just really cleaning up and reorganizing a little bit in here. Tonight though, I'm still waiting for parts. I'm still waiting for my high temperature sleeving for the wires that come off the generator. It's these four. And I did finish tidying up the wiring. So when I ran the wires, I tried to make sure the lengths were all correct, but I did have to do a little bit of shortening at this end. And I did a little bit of simplifying as well. I had wires going from there to the rectifier diode, and I had a connection in there I didn't need, and those wires were long enough I was able to lop off the connection and just put on the spade terminal to go straight onto the diode. And I changed the routing of one of the wires so that it comes up to here. One of these wires actually goes back to the rectifier. I had that wire going down there, but I made the wire from the rectifier go up to here, so all these four wires will connect in one place. They'll go under the bike, of course, over the top of the engine, and pretty much got it so all of the wires, all of this should tuck away nicely. Color coding, the little color coded sleeves just make it so much easier to know which wires go where. Tidied up all the wiring there. I don't actually know what holds the wiring up in place. At the moment it's just kind of tucked up in there. It's tied, it's all cable tied together in a nice bundle, and I was quite careful to make sure the wires all lay flat. It's quite easy when you've got a big bunch of wires like that, you just grab them and tie them together, but it's much neater to actually lay the wires next to each other. It'll make a much tighter bundle and it won't kink or bunch up as much. So you just have to be very careful you lay the wires right and you don't get them twisted. So it's much better to do that with everything disconnected from one end, so you can unravel them as you go. So the wires are all tucked up in there. Like I said, I don't actually know what would hold them up in there. They do seem to be just sitting by themselves, so I think they're resting on the inside edge of this. The main thing is keeping them away from the gear lever, which they should be down this end. So they're all tucked away nicely there. Battery box is in place. This is all nice and neat. The wires just tucked down the sides there. They can't move. I might put a red dot on the on-off switch so I know which side is on. I did draw what the gear shift pattern is on there because I need to remember what that is. So that would be top gear, second is up there, first it's forward and down. In the manual it talks about not looking at it when you're changing gear, which is the same as driving a car. Basically you need to do it by feel. So those wires will tuck up in there. I have tested everything runs. I won't start it again, we've done that enough times. And the other thing I did today is adjust the rear brake. It does specifically mention in the manual not to put rubber on this, so I got rid of that. I guess it just sits and rubs against the back of the bottom of the cylinder head. I wonder if it's worn down here. So I bet there's a little notch in that, and you could probably weld that up, but I don't think that's a problem. That looks like it's been doing that for years. But the cool thing about this bike is if you put the little kickstand, if you notice it's a center stand, so that's really good. It's not like a side stand like the Trials bike there. I did find you have to be careful how you kick that down. I think it's better to get off the bike. If you're on the bike, might just be me, and you try to kick that down, it's here. So you kick it down, and then the bike rocks backwards, and of course that goes straight into your shin. So yeah, I think the better way is to jump off the bike and then get to it from the side like this, and you can put your foot on it and down, and then pull the bike back up onto the stand. But the neat thing is if you put little blocks under the stand like I have here, you can get the rear wheel off the ground which means you can adjust the brakes nice and easily on there. There's a little adjuster down under there. Might have a slight leak there, just a bit worrying. May need to tighten that up. So can't remember if I mentioned, I think that's what I did yesterday as well. I put the rear light and the number plate back on. I want to get a better or a nicer registration holder. Came with this little aluminium one. I've seen this on other bikes somewhere, but I don't know, it's a little bit too modern-y. That was down there. I suppose it's not too bad. So I might screw that back on. It's probably fine, to be honest. Just being a bit picky. So that'll go on there. That was the last time it was registered, 2007. So it's been off the road for a little while. And I can start putting some of these parts away now, I think, because we're almost there. I have been tidying up, as I say. I took the old bodywork and front guard and bits and pieces and put them in the one place that I know is warm and dry and they're not going to rust, which is up on the roof of the house. Don't tell head gardener. She never goes up there anyway, because that's where all the mouse traps are. So clutch cable, front brake cable, sleeving for that, and then I think it's pretty much done. One thing I did get today was some glue. So this is contact adhesive. I'll use that to glue the rubber on, but I might just leave the footboards. Just give it a good week or two for that enamel paint to really be properly dry before I try and glue that on. I need to cut the strips of that as well, so that's all ready to go. I think those two want to go inside, don't you? But I did do one final thing, which was cut my strips of rubber. So they're going to be glued on there. I did consider notching out the front, but I think it's less likely to come unstuck if it's just a straight cut across the front there. I don't mind that. You can see a little bit of the floorboard there. And that should glue nicely onto there. I'm just going to leave it sitting there for a bit and see if it flattens down, which will make it easier to glue. And that's the one for the other side. Rear brake is adjusted now. It says in the manual you adjust them till they're dragging very slightly, and then they'll sort of bed in, or they'll seat in. But the rear brakes on these are not very good as far as I can tell. Just very, very simple setup, but hopefully the front brake will be more than make up for that, because you do most of your braking on the front anyway. But, yeah, that's it for tonight. Oh, one other thing. I did actually figure out there is a difference in the headlight settings. If we turn the lights off, some of the lights off, I have to remember which ones are which. Makes it a bit too dark. So if we turn the lights on, you can see that is lower, just slightly. It's quite handy pushing it up against the garage door like that. You can sort of see the lines where the pattern is. So that's dipped, that's high. That works well. That's just the pilot light. Time to go back in. Looks like we're finally going to get some rain the next few days, but my front brake and clutch cable arrived today, so I've fitted those now, and you might be able to see the bike's got a bit of grass on it, which means I have successfully ridden it around the garden. It's taken me a little while to get used to it, not stalling it, and the front end feels really heavy on it. I think it's just because I'm not used to it, and there is that big piece of metal on there. Carb needs adjusting because it is spluttering a little bit, but it does go. I think I still need to adjust the rear brake. It does almost nothing. I don't know if you can get it to the point where it'll lock up the rear wheel, but hopefully. I haven't even been able to lock it up on the grass. Front brake works fine. I'll see if I can figure out if I can attach the camera to it and go for a ride around the garden. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, so I'll stop this and then start it again if I can get it attached. The camera is mostly attached. Start this up. Probably enough of that, you get the idea. Clutch seems a bit, I think it's the cable is sounding scratchy, so I may need to spray something down inside that. It feels a little bit sort of sticky as well, so that's not helping. Other than that, it all seems to be working fine. I think I got up to about 12 miles an hour. Because I obviously don't have enough room. I don't have my helmet on or any of the gear on, so I'm not going to do any more than just putt around the garden. But that seems to be working pretty well. The rear brakes, they're getting better, but yeah, I might need to have another look at those, I think. Say that was a very successful first test ride. I adjusted the brakes, the rear brakes, they're really not good at all. They just don't really stop it much. Both brakes work fine. Front brakes very good. I did adjust the carb mixture a little bit. You can actually just adjust it by hand. You can get to the little screw and turn it in and out. I turned it in quarter of a turn, I think it was. That'll take a bit more playing. I actually had it back up on blocks. It turns out you don't need very big blocks to get the back wheel off the ground. Just sort of 20 millimeters is enough to do it. But when I had it up on blocks, I actually ran it in gear, and I was able to get it into top gear, which is third, and notice that once you hit 30 miles an hour, there's quite a wobble to it. So I think the back wheel probably needs adjusting, truing up. I've never done that before, so that'll be interesting. I guess you just make kind of a stand and go through and adjust the spokes bit by bit, to keep the right tension, but to get it to twist the way you need it to get it trued. So I need to do that, unless I can find somewhere to take it. What else? I didn't think the odometer was working, but it is. I forgot that the way it works on these ones is it doesn't continually move around. It waits till it gets all the way to the end, and then it ticks over a number. So you can see I've put a mile on it, basically. Oil leak at the front, yes, definitely there. Clutch, the cable is definitely scratchy. I sprayed some WD-40 down here, which I know isn't the right stuff, but it's not going to hurt it. I will get some proper cable lube, but just that little squirt down the end has made a big difference. It's not scraping quite as much, but I will get some proper cable lube and spray down the cables. Other than that, yeah, it's just getting the hang of it. Not stalling it when releasing the clutch. It seems to be running better and better the more I use it, which is good. So I'm still waiting for the cable heat shielding to go around this bundle of wires. It should be on the way. And the other thing I've ordered is Velcro ties, but the sort of little pull ones. So I will go through and use those to get all these sort of cables and things neat. The original used sort of little rubber ties, I believe, almost like rubber bands, but I think these little Velcro things will work pretty much the same. But yeah, that I think was a good first ride.